welcome everyone a new episode of Money Means Business. Before we start, let me first extend my congratulations to the Egyptian people and to our armed forces. The 51st anniversary of the great victory of October War. 51 years ago, the Egyptians did it. They conquered the impossible. They regained the dignity of the nation, and because of the sacrifices of this generation, we are living in peace and security. We are still in a battle, but this time it's the battle of development, and inshallah we are going to continue in the victorious streak and with the same scale. Well, right after the short break, I'm going to return back with more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Of course, the hosting of the 48th meeting of the Arab Central Banks and Monetary Authorities governors, the very important gathering which was hosted by Egypt recently, is going to take a main segment of our episode, as its timing is very important, and also the fruitful cooperation among the governors of central banks of the Arab nation is a must. It's not a luxury anymore, due to the difficulties, due to the changes and challenges that are facing not only the Arab region but the whole world. To shed more light on the event, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Fouad Abu State, International Economy Professor in Ain Shams University. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. And I'm really happy to have you. I'm sorry, Helwan University, not Ain Shams. They are all our universities. And in fact, sir, I was speaking about the important meeting, or the 48th rather, meeting of the Arab Central Banks and Monetary Authorities governors, which was held recently here in Egypt. And in fact, it was for me a little bit surprising to know that the first such meeting was held more than 50 years ago in 1972, meaning meaning that Egypt was very much aware since such a long time with the importance of uniting efforts and of having these meetings to be as a platform for knowing well how to cooperate together for the best interest of all the Arab region, of all the Arab peoples. If you want to elaborate on that before going into more details.
Yes, the meeting is very important and crucial because the region is facing a lot of challenges in regional issues and also international issues. And the central bank governors in meeting in Egypt faces a lot of concern concerning the financial stability of their countries due to the political and economic instability of the regions and the problems that are facing most of the developed economies. Therefore, the meeting is very important, and the governor should discuss the concerns, how to achieve the financial stability in their countries, as also it's important to coordinate the efforts to overcome the problems that are facing the region.
What you're saying, sir, is the main job of any central bank, because before going into the details of the meeting and the workshops and the sessions and even the important points which were mentioned in many of the sessions or the speeches by key speakers, let's simplify the story for the non-experts, for the layman in the street. What is the job of a central bank?
But the main job of the central bank is to control inflation, to control the high prices that facing the economy in their countries. This is one of the major important function of the central bank. Not only in the Arab country, but all over the globe. And also, this is one of the concerns of the International Financial Monetary Funds, IMF, which is the bank of the central banks. Therefore, the main function of the central bank to achieve or control inflation. Second function of the central bank is to achieve financial stability. When the governors issue instructions to banks and coordinate the efforts among the Arab countries, then the flow of funds between the countries will be facilitated. Henceforth, this is the second job. The third function of the central bank is to stabilize the foreign exchange of the country against the international foreign currencies.
Then, when there are very harsh decisions by the central bank to increase the interest rates, interest hikes, and to find that there are some certain harsh rulings or decisions which should be taken, it's not a luxury. I mean, it's not with the free choice of the central bank governor, but it's according to the global economic situation, and what's happening in the States, in America, I mean, can really have its impact on Europe, on the Middle East, because we are all living in one planet, and what's happening here can impact us there. I mean, I'd like also to focus on that, because unfortunately there is a misunderstanding that what's happening in the far edge of the planet cannot, or why it can have a positive or a negative impact on us.
The interest rates is the main tools of monetary policies adopted by any central banks, as well, not only in Arab countries, but on the globe. In reference to your question concerning the effects of the changes in American monetary policies and impacts on interest rates and how it affects the global economy, this due to that the dollars represents the major currencies, or 75% of the foreign trades around the globe. Also, when the central bank, or the Fed, we call it, the Central Bank of America, was called the Fed, changes the interest rates either to increase it or to reduce it. then this will affect the flow of foreign capitals from the foreign country to U.S. or to outflow of foreign capital to other countries.
Yeah.
Managing the interest rates affect the flow of foreign capital in the states and from the states,
Yeah.
which also has an impact in Egypt as well as most of other countries. Nonetheless, some of the Arab countries that engage, particularly in the Gulf countries, they are tightening their currency to the dollar. So once the dollar exchange rate or interest rate, I would say, it change, it also leads to the central bank of most of the Gulf countries, it changed the interest to adopt the changes in the Fed interest rate.
So the ups and downs in the interest rates is normal, and it's something which is not going to have an end, I mean.
It's not normal, it's just a way to manage the inflation.
Yeah, to adjust the situation, I mean.
When the governor of central bank of the state or the Fed realized that the high interest rates have a negative impact on domestic investment and also impose impact on high unemployment, then in the last meeting a few weeks ago, reduced the interest rates, and then this which means to encourage the investment and to help the investors create more jobs.
Yeah.
This for the role of central bank is very crucial, and how to manipulate the policy is important.
Yep.
And also the way how to coordinate the policy is important. And by the way, to coordinate the policy is one of the functions of the IMF.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is very important. I mean, they don't change the interest rate for fun, but they do it to achieve goals.
Amen to that. Returning to the 48th meeting of the Arab Central Bank, sir, and the monetary authorities governors, the meeting discussed the outcomes of technical committees and working groups approving the final versions of the 2024 annual Arab Financial Stability Report and also the 2024 Joint Arab Economic Report. The word stability is very important, and the word sustainability is also very important. And to have them together in one sentence, it equals development, and it equals also dreams coming true or realizing sustainable development goals. How do you see this as one of the important elements or important points which were discussed, and the importance of having this financial stability report in a very transparent manner and as a result of full cooperation among all of the Arab states? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me, sir? Hello? Sir, can you hear my question? Hello? Dr. Fouad Abu Said, it seems that we do have some technical difficulties here, so we are going to try to have him once again. We were very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Fouad Abu Said, International Economy Professor in Helwan University. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.
The Central Bank of Egypt hosted the 48th meeting of the Council of Governors of Arab Central Banks and Monetary Institutions under the patronage of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Hassan Abdullah, Governor of the Central Bank of Egypt, Ahmed Abul Gheit, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, and Dr. Fahd bin Mohammed Al-Turki, Director General and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Arab Monetary Fund. It is worth noting that the Arab central banks and monetary institutions held their first meeting in Cairo in September 1972, followed by the second meeting in Baghdad in February 1975, and then the third meeting in Amman in July 1978. It was agreed to hold annual meetings for them within the framework of a council called the Council of Governors of Arab Central Banks and Monetary Institutions. The Council's objectives are to support the important role played by Arab central banks and monetary institutions and to work to achieve more cooperation and exchange of expertise in the field of central banking work between Arab countries, as well as to work to confront international monetary problems in a way that achieves their common interests. On another note, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Prime Minister, stressed that the holding of the activities of this session comes under extremely complex regional and international circumstances, which require dealing with innovative methods that take into account the social dimension. Noting that the Egyptian government seeks, through an integrated program, to raise the contribution of investments and exports to the structure of the gross domestic product, which supports employment rates and helps provide job opportunities for young people. For his part, Hassan Abdullah, Governor of the Central Bank, stressed that the Council's meetings always receive great attention in the belief in the pivotal role played by central banks in leading economic growth and directing monetary policy, especially in light of geopolitical changes and successive global economic shocks. The Council's meetings discussed a number of working papers related to the mechanisms of managing monetary policy in an environment characterized by uncertainty and frequent shocks, and the role of central banks in dealing with climate change issues. In the same context, Ahmed Abul Gheit, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, praised in his speech the efforts made by the Arab Monetary Fund as an important partner for Arab governments in enhancing the March economic, financial and monetary stability and development. It is worth noting that the Council's meetings are held annually with the participation of the governors of Arab central banks and a number of experts, specialists and senior officials, in addition to the wide participation of regional and international financial institutions. The Council aims to support the role of central banks, enhance cooperation and exchange of expertise in the field of banking work between Arab countries and coordinate the positions of Arab countries in confronting international monetary problems in a way that achieves their common interests.
Welcome back. We are still with the 48th meeting of the Arab Central Bank and Monetary Authority's governor, as the meeting addressed many important economic priority topics of the current period, including monetary policy management in an environment marked by high uncertainty and shock recurrence. It discussed the implications of private sector indebtedness on financial stability in the Arab countries in specific, the role of central banks in addressing climate change issues, and regulatory frameworks for implementing artificial intelligence applications in the financial sector. Furthermore, the meetings covered the outcomes of technical committees and specialized task forces in the areas related to the work of Arab central banks. In addition to approving the annual report on financial stability in Arab countries, the Unified Arab Economic Report, and adopting the financial version of issues proposed for inclusion in the Unified Arab Statement delivered during the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Osama Murad, our financial expert. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good evening.
Good evening to you. The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we were speaking about the meeting of the Arab Central Banks and Monetary Authorities governors, which took place here in Egypt, and it really discussed a number of very vital issues. Among them, it's the stability report, the annual stability report. Because when it comes to what's going on around us, in the whole world, to be accurate, not only around us, it lacks stability by any means. How do you see the importance of this issue, of the stability report, on having this transparent way of introducing the whole issue to the concerned authorities, and also to urge unifying efforts to face all the economic difficulties around the Arab world and, as I said, in the whole world, not only in the Arab nation?
There's never been a time where stability has been more important, because we are now in a volatile, ambiguous environment, highly volatile, with extreme new actions day by day, be that geopolitics, war, economics, inflation, interest rates. So it becomes more and more important to address the stability, and unified efforts across the Arab region definitely would help all Arab countries. And it's great that this meeting is held in Egypt, because the Egyptian Central Bank played a vital role in trying to stabilize the economy, which has been affected by what's happening all around us in the world and in the region, impacting Egypt and the rest of the countries, and they played a vital role in stabilizing the economy to where it's now.
So in your opinion, sir, what are the most important, I'm not going to say crises, by all means they are, but let's call them problems. In your opinion, what are the challenges we are facing regarding these issues when it comes to inflation, when it comes to trying to stabilize the interest rate hikes, when it comes also to face the challenges coming out of the conflicts around us? In your opinion, which is considered as a bigger threat or a bigger danger?
Well, some of them are interconnected. So regional conflicts are impacting the ability of countries in the region to attract foreign direct investment, which is highly needed, as the region generally is more of an importing region, so suffering from foreign exchange issues, and the ability to attract foreign direct investment is weakening in regional conflict times, and in threats internally and externally. So be that terrorism or wars around us impacting the situation, especially in a global environment, which is in fuel and food prices impacted by the Russian-Ukrainian crisis.
Yeah. So how do you see the importance of not only unifying efforts, but also to cooperate with the international economic institutions? I mean, here I cannot neglect the role of the IMF, of the World Banks, and when we do have a report released by the IMF, for example, on the Egyptian economic indicators, they cannot neglect what's going on around Egypt. I mean, yes. I cannot evaluate the Egyptian economic indicators or performance without taking into consideration what's going around us from all directions. I mean, how do you see the importance of this?
It is highly important. That's why we're seeing not only reports but actions. The IMF, the World Bank, the BRICS countries, the development banks, the Islamic and African, are all trying to support Egypt and the rest of the countries in the region to stabilize the economy, because everybody knows the impact of regional conflicts, of migration issues, of border closures, of Egypt specifically Suez Canal drop in revenue due to the Houthi attacks on the ships, or the threats of the ships if they're attacked or not. So I think that it's not only unifying. I would rather use the word coordinating efforts rather than more than unifying, because every country has a specific situation and the coordination is highly vital.
I cannot agree more, sir, and you mentioned an important point which was mentioned already by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi when he attended the graduation ceremony of the Police Academy new cadets. He spoke in specific about some of the challenges, and he mentioned the Suez Canal revenues and as another challenge in front of Egypt. But in the same time, the President and his UAE counterpart, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, they witnessed together yesterday the inauguration or the launch of the development project in Ras Al Hikmah. And I can consider this as one of the role models of coordination, as you've kindly mentioned, and cooperation between two Arab nations. And here it's Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. How do you see this project as one of the role models or the models we can use as an example for what can be achieved on the ground?
Well, I think that the elevation of economic policy from the Gulf countries and Egypt, from donor or help attitude to creating win-win situations, where the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the rest of the Gulf countries not only support Egypt for regional benefits, but only create win-win situations for them and getting to a lucrative market with high potential and profiting themselves from there, creating employment, investing foreign currency money, and thus helping reducing the imbalance and raising Egypt's potential to stability and sustainability in the future. Because with the diversity in the Egyptian economy, if we upgrade the tourism factor, it becomes more and more risk averse, or we have the agility to move around if one of the foreign currency revenues, like the Suez Canal, drops by $6 billion. We can then come up or compensate by an increase in tourism and real estate exports.
And industry, I mean, yesterday also it was another announcement regarding the electric vehicles. And the two Arab leaders witnessed the signing of a number of memoranda of understanding between companies, whether from Egypt or from the United Arab Emirates. So this is also the strategic partnership between the public and private sector, and encouraging the private sector to have, let's say, even the lion's share in our economic progress. How do you see this also as some of the successes we have?
It's a great role model of exemplary actions. When you read the recommendations and agreed upon economic initiatives, one of the main pillars is the increased role of the private sector. And all the companies which signed memoranda yesterday are leading Egyptian private sector companies, and thus we will see a better dwindle down effect into the economy.
Yeah. Sir, when it comes to the banking sector, or here we are talking about a meeting which took place gathering the governors of central banks of the Arab world, here I think I cannot also neglect or miss speaking about the financial and non-financial services introduced by our banking sector. Are they of the same importance, or what's our homework, what we should do to improve both services?
Well, the banking sector, the financial sector in Egypt is slightly lagging behind world economy, as we've been very conservative in digital banking, cryptocurrency, and digital currencies, and we prohibit or we make it harder for new entrants to enter the market. Nevertheless, during the last 18 months, we saw a huge rise in the step of the Financial Regulatory Authority, and we're seeing great coordination between the Central Bank of Egypt and the FRA, which leads to a much stronger, more competitive banking and non-bank financial sector, attracting not only foreign investors from others into the region, but we've seen also several examples of Egyptian companies and banks expanding regionally in the Middle East of Africa.
Yeah. Sir, since you mentioned something which really urged me to speak about also other important or pivotal points which were discussed throughout the meeting, and it's mainly the use of artificial intelligence, because this is the future, and also cybersecurity, because also this is something which we cannot neglect or miss speaking about, because I think both are related together in a way, and in the same time it's the future.
Yes, definitely, and this is where the conservative approach Egypt is taking of not having financial sector information on the cloud has benefited us in the last crisis the world has faced, because it proved that also it's great to rely and have lots on cloud computing, but we have saved ourselves from one of the big crises which was there. But with more time, and I'm seeing the Egyptian financial sector, banking and non-banking, increasingly approaching the artificial intelligence, robo-advice. Even the regulator is using advanced technologies to help regulate the economy. So I see technology, artificial intelligence, and all of this giving Egypt and the region an equal footing to compete on a global landscape.
To compete on a global what? A global scale?
A global landscape, yes.
But sir, are you telling me that when it comes to this, we are on equal foot with the West?
We are on equal foot. Egypt specifically has only one issue of the currency because of the imbalances of foreign currency revenue and because of the reliance on imports on basic materials and food. Once that is solved, I see no issue in the Egyptian financial sector expanding globally. We have already local investment banks which have offices in the world, in the West, in the Gulf, in Africa, and competing and taking leadership positions there. So once the foreign currency issue is resolved or slows down, we can see an expansion globally.
Well, sir, thank you very much for your input and have a very good day. We were very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Osama Murad, our financial expert. By this we come to the end of our episode. Now I'm going to leave you with the most important events which took place in the past 7 days. Many thanks for watching. This was Nermeen Abdurrahman.
The central bank announced that foreign exchange reserves rose by about $139 million in September, continuing to rise for 25 consecutive months, during which they rose by $13.6 billion. It confirmed that foreign exchange reserves rose in September to $46.736 billion compared to $46.597 billion in August. Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, said that the necessary procedures and approvals are being completed to obtain new funding worth $2.9 billion to support the state's general budget and enhance structural reforms from a number of development partners, including the European Union, the World Bank Group, the African Development Bank, Japan, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the French Development Agency. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli announced that Egypt's external debt decreased by more than $15 billion in 6 months, adding that the external debt recorded $168 billion in December of last year and reached $152.8 billion in June, which reflects the measures implemented by the government in addition to efforts to reform the conditions of Egyptian banks. Engineer Hassan Al-Khatib, Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, participated in a series of meetings organized by the French Federation of Employers, MEDAF International, and the minister held an extensive meeting with 30 French companies to promote the investment climate in Egypt and present investment opportunities and discuss investment opportunities in the energy fields, especially renewable energy and green hydrogen. The Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics announced that the government aims to reduce the inflation rate to less than 10% by the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. Data had shown that the annual inflation rate for consumer prices in cities slowed to 25.7% in July from 27.5% in June, recording a slowdown faster than analyst expectations. Lieutenant General Engineer Kamil El-Wazir, Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development and Minister of Industry and Transport, witnessed the signing of contract to establish an expansion project for the production of electrical blades in Al-Rubaiki city on an area of 13,000 square meters and with investments of 14 million euros, stressing the ministry's keenness to provide all forms of support and assistance to global companies to overcome any challenges they may face. Informed sources revealed an agreement to appoint Dr. Mohammed Maid, former Minister of Finance, as Executive Director of the International Monetary Fund for Arab countries and the Maldives, succeeding Dr. Mahmoud Muhyiddin, whose term at the fund ends this month. The sources said that Dr. Maid's name was agreed upon several weeks ago after reaching an agreement with the group of Arab countries at the fund.